Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at a really interesting document. It's all about a village called Mulkanoor in Telangana, India.
Yes, and it's not just, a description. This document really presents Mulkanoor as a major success story.
Right, like a model almost.
Exactly. A model for, sustainable rural development, community self-reliance. It's quite something.
Okay, so our mission then is to really dig into why. Why does this specific village stand out?
What makes it tick?
Yeah, what's the secret sauce? How did they manage to blend, their traditions with genuine progress?
And the source material points very clearly to one thing at the heart of it all.
The Mulkanoor Cooperative Society.
That's the one. It seems absolutely central to their whole story.
Which is located where, again, remind us?
It's in the Karimnagar district. Mulkanoor itself has history, sure, but its modern reputation, that really comes from this cooperative.
And it's dairy farming, specifically. The document mentions that.
Oh, yes, the dairy is a huge part of it, a very visible example of the cooperative's impact.
Okay, let's unpack the cooperative itself. The document gives its full name, the Mulkanoor Cooperative Rural Bank and Marketing Society, Ltd. Bit of a mouthful.
It is, but the key detail is the date it was set up.
1956. Why is that year so important?
Well, think about it. 1956. That makes it one of India's earliest rural cooperatives, and crucially, one that's actually lasted and succeeded.
So this isn't some recent project.
Not at all. We're talking nearly 7 decades of continuous operation of building this thing piece by piece. That shows real long-term thinking, doesn't it?
It really does. And it sounds like it was more than just, say, a bank or a place to sell goods. The document calls it a rural institution.
Yes, providing a whole ecosystem of support. That's the key phrase, I think, an ecosystem.
What did that look like, practically speaking, for a farmer on the ground?
Well, it covered the basics farmers need to actually improve, not just survive. So, yes, loans were part of it, access to credit.
Okay.
But also things like quality seeds, the right kinds of fertilizers, and importantly, training.
So not just giving stuff, but teaching how to use it effectively.
Exactly. Investing in people, in their skills, their capacity. It wasn't just about transactions. It was about development. A real engine for growth.
That makes sense, that practical support. And speaking of tangible results, you mentioned the dairy earlier, the Mulkanoor Milk Dairy. The document calls it the pride of the village.
It does, and you can see why.
How did that become so central?
It had created a direct link, The cooperative collected milk straight from the local farmers.
Okay, so reliability.
Reliability, yes, and a guaranteed market. Plus, crucially, fair prices. It cut out the middlemen.
The ones who often, take too much of the profit.
Precisely. So farmers earned a better, more sustainable income. And that money then stays in the village, right? It circulates, helps the whole local economy.
And the cooperative handles the next steps.
Yes, they process the milk, make other dairy products, and then sell them across Telangana. So it connects the local farmer directly to a much wider market.
So it's controlling more of the value chain, keeping the benefits local.
That's a good way to put it. Value chain integration.
Now, there's another really critical piece the document highlights: women's empowerment. How did the cooperative play a role there?
Yeah, this is really important. The cooperative didn't just focus on the farm itself, but on the community fabric.
How so?
It actively linked up with women's self-help groups, SHGs. You see these groups across India.
Right, community-based savings and support groups usually.
Exactly. So by supporting farming and dairy, which often involve the whole family, and then specifically engaging women through these SHGs.
They created pathways for women.
Yes. Pathways for economic participation, skill development, generating your own income. The cooperative channeled resources and opportunities often through these groups.
And the document mentions this wasn't just in Mulkanoor village itself.
No, the impact spread. It empowered thousands of women and farmers generally across the wider district. It wasn't just an isolated success.
That really elevates it, doesn't it? It's not just about better crops or more milk. It's social transformation.
Absolutely. It's fostering change from within, transforming practices too.
Towards sustainability. The document uses that word.
It does. It calls their approach a model for sustainable farming and dairy production.
What does that mean in practice? Does it detail the techniques?
It doesn't go into granular detail on, say, specific farming methods, but the implication is clear. The cooperative helped farmers shift towards methods that were more efficient, improve quality, and likely better for the environment long term.
Facilitated by that training and support you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. It's about building something that can last. economically and hopefully ecologically too.
Okay, so the picture emerging is long-term vision, starting way back in 56. Integrated support, financial, material, training,
Yeah.
control over the value chain, like with the dairy, and deliberate social empowerment, especially for women via SHGs.
That sums it up pretty well.
What else? Why did this cooperative succeed so well when maybe others haven't had the same impact? Does the document give any clues?
Well, one interesting aspect seems to be how it tapped into existing community structures. That 1956 date again.
Post-independence India.
Right, a time when community organization was, well, both necessary and encouraged. The cooperative seems to have built on that spirit, that existing culture of cooperation, perhaps.
So it wasn't just dropped in from outside.
It feels like it grew more organically,
Yeah.
guided by local leaders who really understood the local needs and adapted over time.
That blend of heritage and progress again.
Yes, they didn't throw out their traditions. They found ways to evolve them using modern cooperative principles. That seems key.
And the document places Mulkanoor in its wider context too, right? Mentions nearby towns, historical sites.
It does. It mentions Karimnagar, Pittapalli. Having that connectivity, that infrastructure nearby, surely helped.
How so?
Well, for getting the dairy products to market, for instance, you need roads, transport links. It shows Mulkanoor wasn't operating in total isolation.
And the mention of P.V. Narasimha Rao's birthplace being nearby, is that just geographical color?
It could be just context, but, Rao was known for economic reforms.
Right.
Maybe it subtly links Mulkanoor's spirit of self-reliance and local initiative to broader national ideas about development. It paints a picture of this local success story being part of a bigger regional fabric.
So when you pull it all together, what the document shows us is, well, it's a powerful case study, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
How a community-led organization with consistent effort since 1956 built real self-reliance from the ground up.
Through very practical, integrated support.
Yes, integrating the economic side farming, dairy with the social side, like empowering women through those SHGs. That combination seems to be what led to genuinely sustainable development for the whole community.
Which is why it's held up as a model. It's not theoretical, it's decades of proof.
Proof that community organizing can deliver real, tangible benefits and empowerment over the long haul.
This deep dive really underscores that cooperation, when it's strategic and sustained, isn't just a nice idea. It can be a blueprint for transformation.
And that leads to a really interesting question, I think, for you listeners. Go on.
If this one source shows how a single cooperative in one village in India managed to drive decades of development and empowerment by integrating these different elements, what does that suggest?
Suggest about the potential elsewhere.
Exactly. What potential could similar community-led, community-owned initiatives hold for tackling rural challenges, for fostering that kind of self-reliance in other places around the world today?
That's definitely something to think about. A really powerful example. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.